All right. Hello again, adventures, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is daily vlog number 5. I need a drink, first of all, and I've got something in my eye, and it is driving me nuts. I pushed record kind of quickly and kind of forgot that, like, I have to be able to function in this, so, like, give me a couple seconds here. So I can actually see what I'm doing. Much better. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, now we can actually do what the purpose of this video was, which is... A while ago, I pre-ordered the physical digital bundle for the Deck of Many Things thing from Wizards of the Coast, which is technically, I believe it was the final 5th edition. That or Planescape, I can't remember which one came first, but it's one of the final core 5th edition books that was released, and I am a huge fan of the Deck of Many Things, and we'll get into why in a little bit. But there were some issues with the printing, and so they had to delay it until the beginning of January. And guess what, folks? It's here. I am super, super happy. It's this big old box, and it has this thing here that I have to, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's perforated, so I have to open it. So I have intentionally not opened this so I can open it live with you, because I am so excited about this. Again, I have a history with the Deck of Many Things, and it's not what you think. I've never used the Deck of Many Things, but the first adventure that I ever purchased for any tabletop RPG was an adventure that focused on the Deck of Many Things. It is still one of my favorite adventures ever. It was the last 4th edition adventure that was ever released. So to start off with, let's open this up and see the cool stuff in there. Now, really? That's what you're going to do? All right. Now, fair warning, I got the digital version of all this stuff, so none of this stuff is going to be brand spanking new to me because I've seen it all before. Just digital versions. I just haven't had any of the physical stuff. So, wow, this looks so pretty. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take this stuff out. And there's something else in here. What is this? Is this just cardboard, or is there something inside the cardboard? No, it looks like it was just in there to make it so it didn't move around. Yep, looks like just the spacer. Okay, so that I don't need. At least not for right now. So, there's two things. First, we have the Book of Many Things, which again, I have the digital copy of this. It's a nice book. And as you can see, every one of these things. So here, like this is the Knight card. It shows all the different cards in here and explains all the stuff they do. And in addition to that, each one of the cards, it will have kind of like adventure hooks that you could use involving that card. If someone was to pull that card, you know, what you could do with it. It's actually a really interesting, it's a really interesting thing to do. Because, again, for those of you that don't know, the Deck of Many Things is infamous in Dungeons & Dragons because it is a magic item that has existed, I know, at least since 2nd edition. I don't know if it existed in 1st edition. I can't remember right now. But what it is it is it's technically a sentient magic item, and it is an agent of chaos. Thank you, phone. It is an agent of chaos, and the intention of the Deck of Many Things is to quite literally just cause chaos. So the original Deck of Many Things, I believe there was a couple different versions of the deck. There was I think a 13 card version, and then there was a 22 card version. And the way that they work is if you can assemble the deck completely and you draw a card from it, each card has a different effect. And for the most part, the effects themselves are really, really powerful. and a lot of them have negative consequences, and even the positive ones can have negative things happen because of them. But the entire purpose, again, of the deck in universe is it wants to create chaos. So there's a card that will give just anyone that draws the card will be able to cast the wish spell for free a certain number of times. And the wish spell in and of itself breaks the game. There's other ones. There's like one that traps you in pandemonium. There's one that gives you like a follower that follows you. There's one that makes a demon want to kill you and will spend the rest of its existence looking for you and trying to murder you. Like, it's a really, really interesting thing. But and the reason that it's so infamous in the D&D community is if you introduce the deck of many things to your campaign, it will derail the campaign, because so many of the things that it does are reality changing. Like, the deck literally rewrites reality. Whatever you're doing at that point, if a player draws the card, the campaign as it was before is more likely than not over, because the deck is going to change how things work, and it becomes the central focus, at least for the next part of the campaign, if not the rest of the campaign. And it can end campaigns very, very quickly. If like a level 2 character pulls the card that gets a demon sicked on them, well, then the demon shows up and TPKs the entire party. And that's just how it works. So, in general, a lot of DMs are vehemently opposed to the deck of many things ever showing up unless they just want to end the campaign. However, that is when the deck is whole. The deck doesn't have the same power if you haven't assembled the entire deck. And that's what the Madness of Gardmore Abbey is about. Is the Madness of Gardmore Abbey is actually a story about an abbey in the what was it called? The Nentir Vale, which was the default setting for 4th edition. In the Nentir Vale, there was this abbey called Gardmore Abbey, and somebody was able to assemble the deck in Gardmore Abbey, and they drew a card, and they drew the Ruin card. And the Ruin card, all of your money goes away, all of your magic items disappear. It literally ruins you, and it's supposed to be really big. So when they pulled the Ruin card, it caused this kind of invasion of the abbey, and it got attacked by just tons and tons and tons and tons of things. I think there was like an orc invasion that took it over, and then a dragon and a beholder and all this stuff. Like, it got ruined. That happens before the adventure. The adventure happens where the party shows up in Gardmore Abbey just because they're adventurers and they found a cool ruin. And the point of the adventure is you actually have to go through Gardmore Abbey, and you eventually start finding each one of the cards of the deck of many things. But the interesting thing about Gardmore Abbey is it actually, the end of the campaign, or the end of the adventure, is if you do everything right, you can put the deck together and you can draw from it. But that's the very, very end of it. The rest of the campaign, each one of the cards actually has a different power associated with it. And you can actually use those powers in combat. Which was really, really interesting. And another cool thing about the Madness of Gardmore Abbey is there's a rival adventuring party that's going through and trying to collect the cards themselves, because you both want to get the full deck. And so eventually you have to fight against this party, and each side has a different number of cards, each one's having different abilities to use in battle, and it's really, really cool. And it's one of the only instances where, at least that I'm aware of, where the deck of many things is more than just the sum of its parts. You know, it's more than just the deck and you have to draw from it. Each specific card is extremely valuable and powerful. And that was one of the things that I liked about it. So we saw that. Now we have this. I'm supposed to actually have a real deck in here. And so that's what I'm hoping this is. So as we pull this out, looks like a deck box. Ooh, look at that. The deck of many things. This looks so nice. We're going to move that for right now. It's got a little thingy to open it up. There's the deck. Ooh, look at that. Open with care, no sharp objects. So the first thing we have is the card reference guide, which is gorgeous. So, wow, look at this. I'll show it to you guys in just a thing. So first things they have is there's a lot more cards here than the original deck actually had. The original deck, like I said, I believe only had 22 cards. And so this first part, I'm going to see if I can get close enough for you guys to read some of it. The first part is basically talking about, which version of the deck do you want to use, and the the basic different ways that it can be used. And then, as you can see, you have all the different cards. So this, very, very cool book. I'm very excited about it. But the thing I'm more excited about, this is the deck of many things. And there are 3 decks in here. So I believe these 2, this one and then this one here, I believe these 2 are new. Because again, now it's 66 cards strong, and it used to only be 22, I think. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open up the one that I'm most familiar with. Oh, this is so nice, guys. You have no idea. All right, so first things first. This is the deck, and you guys can see it's gold edges. Oh, these are so nice. So Balance, Comet, Donjon, Urail, Fates, Flames, Fool, Gem, Jester, Key, Knight, Moon, Puzzle. I think some of these are new. Rogue, Ruin, Sage, Skull, Star, Sun, Talons, Throne, Void. So, look at how gorgeous these cards are. Let me just cut it here for a second. You can see there's the Gem. I'm going to show you guys the Ruin card just because that was the one I was just talking about. So the Ruin card, check this out. The Ruin card. Doesn't that look amazing? Oh, and the cards are so high quality. Like, these are gorgeous. Super great gold edges. The cardstock itself is really thick and nice, and it feels really, really good. I'm going to open the other ones here real quick because this is gorgeous, guys. Like, oh my word, is this pretty. I want to see what these new cards look like. So, going back to the Madness at Gardmore Abbey. The Madness at Gardmore Abbey actually inspired me with my first... with my first adventure that I wrote. Which was a parody adventure that I called D&D High, and it was meant to kind of mimic the Acquisitions Incorporated style, but instead of it all being kind of all the puns being based on a business, it was about a fictional, I don't need Handle with Care, I know that. It was about a fictional high school where D&D characters go to learn how to be D&D characters. And the way that it worked was the players were the uncool kids, and the bad guys in the adventure were the cool kids. This is so nice. So these are all new cards, I believe. Celestial, Construct, Corpse, Crossroads, Door, Dragon. That's pretty. Elemental. That's a Zorn. Holy crap. All right, so that is the Elemental card, and I'm going to see if I can get it to a point where you guys... There we go. So it's actually in the light. That creature right there is a creature called a Zorn, which exists in 5th edition, but not a lot of people use it, and they're really, really interesting. The Fae... Oh, it's a Blink Dog! Look, it's a Blink Dog! For the Fae card, it's a Blink Dog. I love Blink Dogs. Fiend is just... might be a Balor. The artwork in here is incredible. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, look at this. I don't know how easy it is to see, but there's little kind of... The stars in there are slightly reflective. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, because I don't have the greatest camera. Oh, that is gorgeous. I've got one more deck to open. Oh man, everything about this is so... I am so happy about this. You guys have no idea. So, yeah, so my first parody adventure, which I still have, and I actually have... I've got Chris Perkins and Scott... what's Scott's last name? The guy that played Binwin Broadsbottom. They were both at Gen Con. The 1 year I was able to go to Gen Con. And I got both their signatures on my actual printed copy of the adventure. And so the way that the adventure works is the players show up at D&D High, and the cool kids kind of make fun of them in the kind of opening homeroom section. And then one of the cool kids, you don't find this out in the adventure, but I know it. One of the cool kids just puts a version of the Deck of Many Things on a table, and the players find it. And depending on which card they find, they have to go on a different adventure to kind of deal with the consequences. The adventure that I remember running the most, because I think this is the one that I actually recorded and put on the All for Geek Alliance, was they drew, I think, the Fool card, and it basically reduced everybody's intelligence to like 4, and they had to go to the library in the school and find a specific book in order to kind of break that. And it was really, really fun, and it was highly improvised. I basically have like a 1 or 2 sentence description of what each card adventure is supposed to be. But yeah, so it was a huge... Deck of Many Things is a huge, huge part of my early D&D life. And I didn't find out until much later that it's so infamous in the D&D community. So these are... Oh man, they're so gorgeous. The other cards, the Mine, the Monstrosity, the Ooze. That's pretty... I gotta show you guys the Ooze. So that's the Ooze. It's a gelatinous cube. What other cool stuff? The Pit. Plants. Oh, that's interesting. The Priest. The Prisoner. The Ring. The Shield. The Ship. The Staff. Stairway. Statue. Tavern. This is another one that's really, really gorgeous. Check that out. Very, very nice. The Temple. The Tomb. The Tower. The Tree. The Undead. The Warrior. The Well. So, part of me is wondering, because again, so if you guys want to see, the Madness of Gardmore Abbey came with a Deck of Many Things. I still have my original Deck of Many Things. This is the Deck of Many Things from the Madness of Gardmore Abbey. I have it upside down. And these are all of the cards. And it's a pretty deck, don't get me wrong. As you can see, it's a very pretty deck. That's the key and all that stuff. So it's a very, very nice deck. But if you compare this with this, I mean, there's no comparison. It is just gorgeous. And I think I'm going to look through here just to... I think this is the original deck, because everything else looks to be in... The other 2 decks just look to be in alphabetical order, and this one has extra stuff. E, F, G, H, I. There's the key. Okay. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So yep, this is 22. So I'm assuming the first deck that they have here, because they just have it split into 3 different stacks because it fits better in the deck box for that. But this first one is the original Deck of Many Things. The only thing, I don't remember a Flames card. So I'm going to look through my Deck of Many Things and just see if I've forgotten that was a thing. Talon, Moon, Ruin, Jester, Donjon, Sun, Vizia, Fool, Gem, Knight, Balance, Fates, Void, Star, Flames. No, Flames is a thing. Skull, Throne, Comet, Idiot, Urail, and Rogue. So, yeah. Very, very cool. I still love this Deck of Many Things. Don't get me wrong. But, oh my word, is this not the most gorgeous thing ever. And I will be using this in in my D&D campaigns, and probably every campaign I ever run for the rest of my life. Anytime somebody wants their fate read, I'm not a fan of tarot for a number of reasons. Probably one of the biggest reason of all is it's not real, but people will claim that it is, and they use it to scam people. And I really, really hate it. It's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of astrology either. It's completely fake. It's made up. It's nonsense. Same thing. Same thing is true about the MBTI personality types, but nobody likes to hear that because that's based on science. No, it's malarkey, and the psychological community knows that it's almost as accurate at predicting your personality as your Hogwarts house. But so yeah, I'm not a fan of tarot cards. I never have been. I actually considered not getting the Taroka deck for Curse of Strahd when I bought the book, simply because I just really don't like tarot cards in general. So if my players ever want their fortunes read, I will never pull out a tarot card deck, but I have no problem reading fortunes from the deck of many things. And by the way, for those of you going, well, yeah, but then they won't be accurate. They're not accurate with tarot cards. You literally just make up shit. That's all it is. You just make up shit. I'm sorry if I've ruined the illusion for anyone. But yeah, they're nonsense, and people use it to scam people, and I don't like that. But wow, this deck box is just so nice. So yeah, the actual deck of many things comes in this gorgeous deck box, as you guys can see. And it's just beautiful. Everything about this is great. I am so happy with this. Like I said, I've basically read all of this because this already exists digitally. And again, it's a nice book. I don't think it's bad in any way. I don't think it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a great book, but it's kind of been relatively obvious over the past year-ish of D&D 5th edition that they have taken some of, at least a few of the most creative people off of creating new books and things like that and onto 1D&D, because it's not that these are bad books. It's kind of like what I said about Zelda a while back during Daily December. A bad Zelda game is still a Zelda game. I can't think of a single Zelda game that I have not had fun with, aside from Spirit Tracks. And that has everything to do with the fact that I played it for like 5 minutes and hated the stylus controls. But a bad Zelda game is still a Zelda game, and it's generally going to be fun. It just may not be the next Ocarina of Time or A Link to the Past or something like that. They're still going to be fun. And the books that have been coming out this year have kind of been bad Zelda games. They're still D&D books. They're still very high quality. The art is very, very good. I enjoy them. But they've gotten more expensive, especially if you want access to them early, because thus far the only way to get early access to the books is through the digital physical bundles, because you would generally get a week or two early access. And when I used to be reviewing them, that was essential for doing my reviews. If my review was to come out, 2 or 3 weeks after the product's already out, no one will watch it, or at least less people will watch it. So yeah, I basically was forced to pay all this extra money for it, and the quality has not quite been up to what I would want to pay that much for. They're still good books, don't get me wrong, but they're just not as great. And that's kind of how I feel about this. It's a nice kind of campaign setting style book. And here's one of my favorite things. I'm surprised that I opened right up to this. So if you can see, it says the history of Gardmore Abbey. The Ruin card talks about Gardmore Abbey. And they have this really, really nice map of Gardmore Abbey. So if you wanted to recreate the ruins of Gardmore Abbey, you could. And they have a lot of stuff in here. As you can see, they've got some monster stat blocks for things that you find in there. I want to see if they actually have a Beholder stat block, because there was a Red Dragon. No, they don't have that. And they even have some maps and things like that. So I really like this from a nostalgia point of view. And if you've never had a Deck of Many Things book, because there have been quite a few of them that have come out, this is a really, really nice introduction to the Deck of Many Things, because it has so much to it. But the actual physical Deck of Many Things is worth every single penny that I paid for this. Doesn't matter if the book was it was okay. None of that do I care about. What I care about is this is the nicest D&D prop I have ever owned. And oh man, I am just super, super excited about this. If you guys want to see, I still have the Madness of Gardmore Abbey, and I actually keep it next to my desk here, because I have a bunch of books that I just keep here in case I need to reference them, or just because I haven't had time to put them in my bookshelf back there. But this is the actual Madness of Gardmore Abbey. As you can see, includes Deck of Many Things. And so this is, as you can see, it is absolutely gorgeous. This is something I've made videos about this before. The logo for Dungeons and Dragons, every different edition has a unique logo. So you can look at a product, and if you just look at the logo, generally if you just look at the ampersand, you can tell what edition it's made for. And so this is the 4th edition D&D logo. Looks very different than the current one. And if I open this up, I wonder, do I have this in here upside down? I kind of do. Are I missing one of the pieces? No, don't tell me I lost a piece. I hope it's still in there. So I have a couple that are missing, but it came with a bunch of tokens that you could use for battle maps, because 4th edition was very battle map heavy, just like 3rd edition. And then it came with a bunch of books. And then it also had, as you can see, this is the giant poster map of the Abbey that came with it. I'll move it so you guys can see it. So that was really nice. The old 4th edition modules were awesome. Oh, and there they are. And then it also had some dungeon tiles that you could use as part of it. Dungeon tiles were a thing in 4th edition. I have dungeon tiles. I think they're the bottom row on the right side of the screen, which is to my left. Those are the old dungeon tiles. But you can see this is the Balagura, and I have Padraig, who's one of the characters that was in there. I think he's one of the adventuring people. And then, as you can see, they had all of these different books. So you had book 1, which was Gardmore Abbey, and then book 2 was Encounters Part 1. I have my fingers over it. Encounters Part 1. And so, yeah, like if you looked at, like this was Gardmore Abbey, you'd see it in full color art and all this stuff. God, I miss 4th edition. 4th edition was so much fun, guys. You have no idea. Oh man, it was so good. And then these are the different encounters. Encounter design in 4th edition was a lot of fun too. So as you can see, it would show you where to put them on the map in the beginning and the different stat blocks and that. Encounter design in 4th edition is probably the best it has ever been in D&D. Yeah, I miss that a lot. You could, in 4th edition, challenge rating meant something, first of all. Did I just lose? Yes, I did. Challenge rating actually meant something, and you could modify monsters super easy. Like, the game was designed so that modifying monsters was the norm. Like, you would just have monsters, and then you could change their stat blocks to fit different situations, and you could give them roles and all this stuff to make them work together with other monsters better, and roles were important. Really? Are you not going to let me do this? There. What? There, for Pete's sake. Sorry, I get mad very easily because my brain is broken. Anyway, so that's Gardmore Abbey. And one of these days I'm actually going to run it. Because I've never actually... I purchased the adventure, never actually got a chance to run it. Because I purchased it, again, at the very... I think this is... I think I purchased it after... I purchased it after D&D 5th edition had already launched, or just before it launched, and I got it because the game store that I used to run, game store, I actually organized their entire D&D program for them, and we started, I think, with like 4 people, in this tiny little store. Like the store, the actual square footage of the store is smaller than my current room. It was a tiny little store. And so what happened was we started off, like I said, with about 4 or 5 people. And by the time I left that store, because the owner was insulting was insulting the players, and pissed off a few of them, and then was charging them exorbitant amounts of money to play. We were running, I think we were running somewhere between 30 to 40 people a night. And we did it on Wednesday night. So going from 4 or 5 up to 30, basically filling up the entire store. We would have gotten bigger if we had the space for it. And they actually had me expand to a couple of other stores that the owner also owned. So yeah, I used to be pretty good at this shit. But yeah, basically what happened was when I ran, when they first started charging players to play, what would happen is the players would pay, I think it was like $2, and they would get a little token, and then when they sat down at the table, they would give their token to the GM, and then at the end of the night, the GM could turn in the tokens for store credit. So I would bank up my store credit, and then I would use it to do things like I got a Pathfinder Bestiary box, because I just wanted a lot of minis that were really easy to get. I think I used it to buy a bunch of the D&D adventure games that I have over here. That's the D&D board game adventure system. The reason I bought them is they all came with minis, and they were really, really nice. So I used that to kind of fill out. I got the Legend of Drizzt one first, and then I got all the rest of them. And I got a shit ton of minis. They're unpainted, like real crappy kind of plastic minis, but they're still minis. And then I also bought the Madness of Garden Abbey, because I was like, oh, that looks cool, and I'd never bought an adventure before. So yeah, overall, guys, I cannot tell you how pleased I am with this. I'm going to be happy for a very long time. I'm going to be playing around with these cards like crazy. And yeah, this isn't an in-depth review or anything like that, but if you like pretty things and you think the Deck of Many Things is kind of interesting, get at least the physical copy with the deck itself, because it is worth every penny. If you want to go the digital physical bundle, that's fine. I like having all my games digitally in addition to physically. And something, I don't know if I've ever talked about this. When I make reviews and stuff, like my in-depth reviews, one of the nice thing about the digital versions was all of the art is already digital, and so I could use it for thumbnails and things like that without having to go through a huge hullabaloo of messing around with PDFs or anything like that. It's also really useful if you want to run, if you want to use any of the maps in a virtual tabletop, because they're already digital files that I own. I could just use them in any virtual tabletop that I wanted. Now that the maps feature is getting even more support on D&D Beyond, they actually have a lot of the books. They have the maps already in that, so if you want to just use the battle maps, you can just bring them up in maps, and anyone in the campaign can use it and stuff like that. So yeah, otherwise, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. As soon as I got notification, I think yesterday or the day before, that it was that it had shipped, and as soon as I saw that it came today, I was like, oh, I know what I'm talking about in my daily vlog. And yeah, I really could not be happier with this product. If this is the final 5th edition product that I ever buy, because I'm not 100% sold on 1D&D yet. Not that I don't think it's a cool system or anything like that. I'm just not sure if I want to spend my money on it yet. Beyond, I will probably be getting the new core book. And if they do a monster manual and stuff like that. But as far as getting adventures and stuff like that, I may not be doing that because I have other systems that I have other systems that I support now, and so yeah, I mean literally every officially every official Wizards of the Coast book that has been published for fifth edition I own, and then I also own the Tal'Dorei. I own the digital version of Tal'Dorei. What was it, Reborn? Because I own both the original Tal'Dorei campaign setting, and I have the physical version of Tal'Dorei Reborn, and I also own it on D&D Beyond. But that's the only third party D&D Beyond thing that I own. Other than the they do charity things and little like mini adventures that are like a couple bucks a piece. I've purchased, I think, almost all of those. But I don't have the new Kobold Press one or the Grimdark one that just came out. Those cost money that I don't have. So I haven't purchased those. But other than that, I officially own all of 5th edition. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing, because before D&D Beyond became a thing, I had, I have most of the books physically. I have most of the physical books because again, I was an Adventures League local coordinator, and so I generally had to have all the books if I wanted to keep up. So there's a small stint where I don't have some of the books physically before the physical digital bundle started happening, and I think if I can save up the money for it, I may get the final few 5th edition books that I don't own, just so I can say that I own everything for D&D, for D&D 5th edition. I technically have 2 copies of the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, and I think the DMG, because the first printing of those books, because I got the first printing, the binding was really bad, and so in a few years they all started falling apart, and all you had to do was message Wizards of the Coast and send them a picture of your book falling apart, and they just sent you a new book. So yeah, I'm so happy about this. You guys, I'm exhausted right now, so I probably don't look the most excited anyone has ever been, but I'm massively excited about this. You guys have no idea. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys go, but this is fun. Expect it to show up in random places in any of my games because it's cool and it's pretty. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. All right? Bye-bye.